Hi everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ungrownups video transmission. I'm your host Mark, and today we're going to be taking a look at Mezco Mega Scale Lion-O. This is from the Thundercats Classic line, and they're called Mega Scale because these guys run about 15-16 inches tall. As you can see from the size of my hand, this is a massive, massive figure. He actually sits on top of my shelf with a bunch of Hot Toys figures. He towers over the Hot Toys figures. They only come up to right around here. So, massive, massive figure. These guys are huge. And that's going to be the only downside to these figures, is that, you know, you're going to have quite a bit of room to display them when the line's complete. Now, I've seen Lion-O and the second figure in the series, which was Mumra, for quite a while, maybe more than a year or maybe even 2. And I kind of thought that the line was dead. I hadn't seen any other subsequent figures. I kind of figured maybe they're done with the line. But my wife and I were on vacation and actually come across an older Toys R Us that had Panthro in it. Panthro was the first figure in this line that I bought. Panthro is hands down one of my all-time favorite classic 1980s comic book characters, or cartoon characters. And when I picked that figure up, I was like, man, I've got to get Lion-O. Definitely got to get Lion-O. And now I'm really fiending for Mumra, so I think I'm going to go pick him up as well. So I was thinking, well, maybe the line's not dead. If they're making Panthro, then maybe they're going to make the rest. But after going to Mezco's website, they do indeed have a pre-order up for Chitara, who will be coming out in, I think, July. So if Chitara is on the block to come out, surely we're going to be getting Tigra. Past that, and I would love a 3-pack with Snarf and maybe Wily Kit, Wily Cat. That'd be kind of cool. But as big as these figures are, I can't go too crazy with them because I really just don't have the room to display them. So I have to keep these collections small because they are quite tall. Lion-O comes with 3 accessories. He comes with a small Sword of Omens that's, you know, unextended. It comes with a very large Sword of Omens. And we're going to look at these a lot closer here in a minute. And he also comes with a quite chunky, very vicious-looking claw shield. So this thing's very, very nice. So, the other downside of these figures, if you can call it a downside, is they're very limited in articulation. Lion-O only has 8 points of articulation. He has a ball joint at the head, ball joint at the shoulder. He has a ball joint at the waist. And then he has 4 cut joints, one at the top of each hand and one at the top of each boot. So, but I don't really consider that a down point, or a downside to the figure, because what articulation is there is nice, and you can really get into some very classic poses, especially the one that everybody wants, which is the head over the hand, and you can see they even made the hand extended down for sort of lifting it up straight over his head. So you can get it in some very classic poses. So limited articulation, but what articulation is there is really nice. So why don't we take a closer look at the accessories, and then we'll take a closer look at Lion-O himself. Okay, taking a look at Lion-O's accessories. First off, I just want to take a look at, since this hand is removable, and since you can replace it with the claw shield, I definitely want to look at this as an accessory. And you can see the very fine detail work on this hand. I really like how it looks like it's straining. I like the tendon work. I like the striations in the muscle, and I really like the detail in the fingers, especially right here. I mean, it literally looks like that finger's curled up in there. So that's really, really, really nice work. Fantastic, fantastic hand. This is probably my favorite. I mean, I love my swords, but this thing is just so incredibly cool. It's very heavy. This thing's got quite a bit of heft to it. You can see how it just plugs right in. Nice fur work on it. Some very nice shadowing with the paint apps. And it's got the crystal knuckles, just like in the cartoon. Very, very nicely detailed. And I love the lighter color on the inside and this detail work right here, which I don't remember this from the cartoon. I'm not saying it wasn't there. I just don't remember it. I just love this. This is very sharp. This is a very sturdy, hard plastic. So you can tell this is definitely not a mass market toy, because if this were even as non-mass market as the new Masters of the Universe Classics figures are, anytime there's anything that's sharp or pointed, they have to make it out of a very a very soft, pliable plastic. Transformers does this too, but not these guys, not Art Asylum. They've made an adequate. I mean, this is a weapon. This thing is really, really, really nice. And you'll notice there is no place to sort of store the smaller sort of omens. One, as you can see, the two are not even close to being like this. There'd be no way for this thing to even fit in there. But I'm glad they didn't try to do that. If I did have one complaint about this, what I wish is that I wish that there was a way to sort of affix this to Lion-O's belt. And I definitely wouldn't want like a peg and hole system, but I would really enjoy if there was like a small magnet here and then a small magnet embedded on his belt, and this could attach to his belt. That would be kind of cool. If that could happen, I would probably display him with his other hand in this on the belt, because I always thought that was cool. But I'm actually really glad that the tiny Sword of Omens doesn't fit in there, simply because I would not want to sacrifice the design of the claw shield or the sword to make that happen. So I'm really glad they sort of they've chosen not to do that. So taking a look at the small Sword of Omens, you can see not a lot of detail in the hilt. Right here, as opposed to all the detail that's in the larger sword. There's some jewels and some detailing around the pommel, and you can see how it's got the downturned hand guard, the eye right there, as you can see, it's slightly open, and then a pretty small sword tip, small blade. And then, looking at the larger sword, the eye is now completely open. You've got the Thundercats logo visible on both sides. The downturned handguard is now upturned, and you've got that very classic curling look. And I never noticed whether or not the detail wasn't on the handle or the hilt of the sword in the cartoon, and then it was. I never really noticed that, but maybe they just made this ornate as possible. I really, really, really like the detailing on the sword. I like how it's not a vac metal sword, but it is adequately shiny and reflective, and it is a quite long. It's quite a long sword, and I really like that. I like companies that are not afraid to give us an overabundance of blade when they give me swords, because I want a sword that looks adequate and huge and hefty and looks like it could do some damage, and this definitely does. So side by side of the two sword handles, hilts, and handguards. Very, very, very nice. Alright, so let's take a closer look at Lion-O. Okay, zooming in here on Lion-O, take a little closer look. You can see really, really nice detail on that belt. A little bit of sloppy paint app here on the side. You wouldn't really expect that from a figure of this scale, so that's kind of disappointing. But some very nice sculpting work. You can see how they sculpted in some fur or hair, and you'll see that all over. Very nice muscle detail work all over. That's one of the best things about these figures, is how well the muscles and everything are well sculpted. And you can see whenever they had to put in detail, they tried to put in as much hairline and fur lines as possible. The Thunder fur lines. Very nice detail here going down the hand. I put in the small Sword of Omens just because so it's not so huge and sort of getting in the way of the camera lens. But nice detail on the boots. Very nice. Nice sculpting. And let me turn the hand around, because I know we looked at this earlier, but very, very nice detail sculpted into the hands. Actually, it looks like the fingers really curled up in there, so that's really nice. Really, really, really like that. And then this head sculpt, which is just absolutely fantastic. Moving on up into the hair, you can see there's a little bit of blue paint rubbed on there. Should probably try to flake that off. But very, very clean lines. The paint apps on the face and the eyes, as you can see, very, very clean. Very nice. And you can see the subtle differences around the mouth and around the eyes and the lighter paint, just like it was in the cartoon. Fantastic figure. And here, let me turn him around. So you see some of the very nice detail on the back. Again, Lion-O is the only badass 80s cartoon hero that I know that could really pull off this Ronald McDonald haircut he's got going on. Super, super nice. Look at the back work, man. Just the detail on the muscles on the back. It's just absolutely fantastic. And again, wherever they could build in or sort of tool in the hair. It just looks awesome. Really, really, really nice detail. Love how they've got some fabric folds here and there. Not a lot, but here and there. Looks nice. There's lots of detail on this guy. And again, there's some more sloppy paintwork. Not good. But they sort of, the complaints sort of pale in comparison to this fantastic head sculpt. Such a nice figure. Okay, now that we've had a chance to look at some of the accessories, really what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you how they kind of work with this guy. So first and foremost, let's get the claw shield on, and you'll notice, and this is kind of hard, it's not really hard to get the hand off, it's kind of hard to get the claw shield off. So we're going to take his fist off, and we're just going to plug the claw shield right in there. This is actually how he stays on my shelf. I love this claw shield. And I love that it's not bright orange, sort of like the old original toys were. Nice detailing as we saw earlier. Really, really love this claw shield. Really, really nice. And I don't go for the small sword. No, sir. We're going to go for the large Sword of Omens. We're going to get that in there. And so, nice articulation here. You know, you can have Lion-O sort of pointing the sword directly at you. Very nice pose. Sort of having him turn it to the side. Again, fantastic pose. But of course, what everybody wants is that classic, you know, looking up at the sword. Got his back arched out, looking up, claw shield out. I mean, there's your classic Lion-O right there. Just looks fantastic. Absolutely awesome. I'm not gonna pull the old turntable out and get a 360 of this guy, but he just looks fantastic. Looks so good. Like I said, you know, the articulation is limited, but when you can get him in pretty much the most classic pose you can possibly think of, there's really, I'm not really feeling like I need more articulation. So I'm just really not feeling like I need it. So if I don't feel like I'm missing it, if I don't feel like I need it, then I'm certainly not wanting it. So it's just a fantastic figure. So I know this is a quick little review, but you know, this is a little known line of action figures. So if you can find them, if you can get your hands on them, they're totally worth it if you're an 80s Thundercats Classics fan like I am. So, you know, as always, we're going to ask if you dug the video, please like, comment, or subscribe. And be sure to check out our Facebook page, which is at facebook.com/ungrownups. And definitely check out our podcast, which is new every 2 weeks over at ungrownups.com, or you can download it right at iTunes. So, until next time, peace.